in this glorious venue, this Palace of Auburn Hills. They've witnessed this event before, and we're back once again, and the holidays are upon us, and it feels like a holiday right here. And I can tell you, for one man tonight is going to be somewhat of a holiday, at least from the time the event ends tonight until he goes to December 27th at Starrcade. Who will the man be? Your guess is as good as mine. That's what makes this event so exciting.
There's going to be a celebration for one individual coming out of World War III this evening, because that man has the opportunity of a lifetime next month at Starrcade, when he will go face-to-face with Goldberg and a shot at the world's heavyweight title, and possibly a shot at knocking off the undefeated, unblemished record of our world's heavyweight champion as well.
Well, you're talking about different smells, but this smells like, to you, to me, it smells like war. The mood in the back is tense. Everyone's ready. And I'll tell you, like Mike says, you got 60 of the toughest men in this world going after one thing. What will they do? They beat up their mother for this.
Let me tell you about the mood in the back. It's much different in the locker room area than it is in any other event during the course of the year. And here's why. For the first time, and the only time during one of our pay-per-view events, it literally is every man for himself. So a lot of times we go in the back locker room areas when we're permitted to go back there, and we'll see many of the friends together, maybe playing cards or talking about their upcoming match, but they are really trying to stay apart, away from each other, because they realize the man they may be talking to earlier in the day may be eyeballing them eye to eye as their enemy a little bit later on tonight.
You can really feel that every man for himself tension in the locker room here at the Palace of Auburn Hills, Michigan this evening.
You know, I noticed that at lunch today at catering. There was nobody in there eating. Guys were taking their own trays of food back to their dressing room areas or wherever they were dressing. The place was like a ghost town.
Maybe that was because you walked into the catering room.
Maybe it was the food. I don't know.
Usually when you walk in, people do leave, Brain. Well, Glacier has come out for this opening bout. We're going to get to our 60-man, 3-ring battle royal later on in this telecast, as you've come to know during the years. We've got some other great matches preceding that. Glacier has made a name for himself, but I really would venture to say it pales in comparison to what this man has done over the past 3 months in our sport. With one move, the meltdown, he has made a name for himself, and he's going to open up our telecast against Glacier. Mike, today, here comes the awesome Wrath.
What a return to professional wrestling in WCW for Wrath. You talk about the last 3 months, Tony. An unbeaten streak for this man. 6'8", 292 pounds of Wrath. He has used that deadly, that devastating finishing move, the meltdown, to run up that impressive win streak. And tonight it's going to be the meltdown of Wrath against Glacier, and a combination of his finishing moves, the cryonic kick and that new Asiatic spike. He calls it the ice pick. It's the meltdown against the ice pick to kick off World War III.
Funny you should use that word, kickoff.
I guess so, with a cryonic kick. These two men have a pretty storied history in the past. They certainly have developed a bitter rivalry over the years. Wrath came into WCW, known a lot for his martial arts techniques, his karate style, but then he developed into just a big power man. And now here they go to open up World War III with Brady Boone, the assigned referee. They are in the nearest ring to the cameras. We'll call that the first ring here. And I'm sure they'll be alternating the rings. The signature, the trademark for World War III has been that triangular configuration of rings in the center of the venues. And the excitement is at an all-time high with our November Spectacular. And notice how tentative things are at the beginning. I hate to say this. I know it's important for both men, but I really think a lot of guys are going to have their mind on 3 rings and the 60-man battle royal coming up later on.
Probably a combination of that. You talked earlier about the history between these two, how they know each other's moves so well in and out. Maybe that's a reason for that tentative aspect, but well, in terms of out-muscling his opponent, Wrath goes up 1-zip as he just takes Glacier and physically pushes him right through the ring ropes all the way down to the floor.
I know from my experience, most wrestlers did not like to have a match before a battle royal. They were always leery about getting hurt, pulling a muscle, breaking something, so they're very standoffish. They're very, very cautious because they know what's at stake.
Yeah, but I guess if any two men have a break, it would be Glacier and Wrath, the fact that they are wrestling first. As the night progresses, you get closer and closer to the 3-ring 60-man. It gets more dangerous for the combatants.
Now, is that going to be an advantage or a disadvantage to be on first?
Advantage.
You think so?
Yep.
Well, first of all, if you break an elbow right now, it's not going to be better in an hour.
No, it's not, but you're going to have time to recruit. And I tell you this because, you know, we talk so much about the power in this sport, and yeah, power is a big part of it. You can see the bulging muscles in our stellar athletes. There's a drop kick. Big man didn't even go off these feet, but the cardiovascular conditioning is not talked about that much, but it's a big part of the regiment of these great athletes. Oh, and it takes time to battle back from a 20, 15-minute match.
And I just wonder about the adrenaline rush that flows through these wrestlers. Maybe the closer that you would get to the Battle Royal if you were involved in a singles match. Oh, what a knee that time by Wrath. Glacier all the way to the steel guardrail. You know, maybe that would be an advantage, that you would be warmer closer to a Battle Royal. We're just going to have to see how it all shakes out.
And I'll tell you what they got to do right now is concern themselves with what is happening right here. You start thinking ahead and you can get hurt here.
Wrath gives chase, a back kick that time by Glacier. Found it smart in the solar plexus and now slapped to the head. But Wrath didn't even feel it. Look at this. Now Glacier is nailing him. Right and left combinations in the midsection. Nothing going on there. Reversal, watch out. Oh my goodness. All the way over.
Let me show you to your seat.
Oh, and the fans at ringside enjoying that. A little bit more for their money that time.
Well, not only the wrestlers are fired up, you can see that this capacity crowd is fired up as well for World War III.
And I'll tell you who's really fired up, and that's that big man there, Wrath. He's my pick to win the 60-man Battle Royal.
Baloney, don't start already. You've changed your mind 30 times in about 3 days. We're not going to even listen to you. We have no room for your picks. How does that sound? In they go to the ring, and it's unfortunate that Wrath was the second man in. That gives Glacier the advantage here, and he tries to make quick work of the big man, but to no avail. Oh, he is just so tough.
Oh, turned him inside out with the left arm lariat. You know, this Wrath is catching the eyes not only of professional wrestling people, but also mainstream media and entertainment. We understand that in the month of January, he's going to be on the Mortal Kombat television show, and he's also up for several roles in movies. The world is catching on to Wrath.
Well, he's big, strong, he's intimidating, and he is overall one of the finest athletes. You're seeing a little sample of it right there as he just stomped.
I think the world is catching on to WCW. The hottest wrestling in the world.
I don't think there's any question about that. And of course, the hottest wrestling in the world, both in the front office, in the locker room, and the broadcast position, given a shock here today when it was learned that Hollywood Hogan would not be here. And we were shocked because of how important the world title and going up against Goldberg is to this man. And as Mike said, we understand that we may find out tomorrow on WCW Monday Nitro the reason behind Hollywood's absence here tonight at World War III.
You know, Wrath is a very hard man to beat in the ring, and I'll tell you why. Look how long his legs are, how long his arms are. He talks about always make it to a rope or something. Very hard to get an arm bar or a top wrist lock on this guy. It'd be hard to get him in a Boston Crab. It'd be hard to get the Texas Cloverleaf. He's just got a tremendous body for wrestling.
He can defend against many offensive moves. I don't think there's any question. Not only that, those legs not only long. Look at the quadriceps. Look at the power in the legs. Look at the definition, the muscles in the legs of Wrath. Once again, we talk a lot about the muscle development when it comes to the upper body, but we overlook the legs many times, and we shouldn't. They're very powerful men, these great athletes.
You know what it is also? He's got himself psyched. He's got himself ready when he gets in that ring. That's why I don't think when you beat him, it bothers him too much.
What impact with that clothesline.
Nothing fancy about that. Your basic clothesline or lariat, if you will. It's one of his primary weapons. He's wiped him out a couple of times with it. Look at this cover. 1, 2. Using the ropes was for extra added leverage that time. Not only that, notice on that last pin, gentlemen, how he used the forearm against the cheekbone, bone against bone, the big crossface. That is so painful in there. Here we go again to the attack. Right now, obviously, Wrath having his way with Glacier. Shooting the man on the outside. Glacier, no defense for this offense at all right now.
I wouldn't get out there. There's too many ways you can get hurt.
Oh, they kind of caught him no man's land there. I mean, that's really a short ring apron right there. If you look at it, it's almost like a little box, almost like a penalty box, if you will, with the safety rail and the ring on the other three sides.
Well, you ask Glacier how many minutes he's got in the box. He'll tell you.
Wrath using that television cable wrapped around the neck of Glacier. He's just totally dominated this matchup almost from the opening bell.
He's trying to make a statement here. There is no question. And referee Brady Boone, former great fine wrestler himself, tried to physically get the camera cable unhooked but could not. And now he's admonishing Wrath, who's got Glacier in the corner, and leveling the man as Brady Boone tries to unhook the cable. That is so dangerous.
Sure, Tony, you pull one and I'll pull the other.
No, thank you, Brain.
Look at Glacier trying to signal for a timeout in the corner.
Snap married him over.
You know, we talk about the conditioning of Wrath and the size of the man. But I think we got to remember one thing. He's mean. He's one mean man.
Well, I've often said, you know, I know there are fan favorites out there, but I really think even with the fan favorites, to be successful in pro wrestling, you got to have a certain mean streak. You obviously got to have an abundance of confidence. And I think Wrath has all of that, like you said, Brain. And watch out, and he goes, and Glacier saw the opening.
He's measuring him.
Connected with the hook kick. Oh, cryonic kick delivered to the back that time.
I don't think it found its mark.
Nah,
I think
it didn't get him good.
Yeah, it kind of glanced off. It hit really the shoulder instead of the side of the head of Wrath, maybe the back of the neck. Now the big man trying to regain his composure here.
He's got that thumb.
Looks like Glacier set to apply that spike hold. That he calls it the ice pick.
That's it. You see the thumb up in the air. He's going to go with a submission, and the big man blocked it.
Oh, I wonder where that thumb's going to be.
Wherever he wants it to be. In the midsection he goes. Quickly for the pop handle.
That's step number one. Up to the shoulders for number two, if he can get him up there.
It's all power from here, guys. Meltdown time. It's over.
Body count continues.
And I really think if you go back and analyze what went down right there, it was the fact that Glacier raised the thumb up in the air high, and that enabled Wrath really to regain some consciousness, some strategy, and get things going on later on tonight. Diamond Dallas against one of the most dangerous men ever, and Bret the Hitman Hart.